So, JP, as advertised, first of all, great to see you. And I saw the tweet this morning, 22 years since your dad passed away. That's crazy, right? 22
Yeah,
years.
it's Carm, it's crazy to think about. Because every time that, Halloween comes back around, I remember, being in Miami a couple days before. I flew back home to Chicago, and I was home like 4 days before Halloween. And I went to go see my dad at the hospital. I was there. And then a couple days later, he's like, I want to go home. And I remember being out on that night of Halloween with some of my friends that were still in the area. And man, it brings me back to that moment and that day and the day before. And now it's changed a little bit because I got kids. So Halloween's always been this one of those, I don't know. It's just one of those days for me that I'm like, I don't want to dress up, but my kids like to dress up. And then today hits, and it brings it back full circle. And it's just about how much he's missed, man. All the Bears fans and fans of him and helping keeping his legacy alive, man. It's amazing, man. It's like he's still here, but he's not here.
Well, right, and it's your dad. I mean, it's sweet for all the Bears fans and all that, but that's your pops. You only get one of those. How old were you at the time?
I was 19 when he passed, right?
Okay.
So probably at that crucial moment in my life in Miami, freshman. I was redshirted at first, then they stripped my red shirt, and like I didn't really even know. And a lot of people, Carm, don't know this, so it's funny I'm telling you this. I didn't really know what I was doing when I got to Miami, right? Like I played 2 years of high school football as a quarterback, which was like a boot out, and I had the option to throw or to run the ball if I didn't see anything. I didn't have any like checks at the line. I played running back for a full game one time at Gately Stadium, one time, and basically never had to pick up a blitz or anything like that. Just basically ran the ball like almost 30 sometimes, right? I get to Miami and they're like, you got to pick up blitzes, all this other stuff. I had no clue what I was doing. So to not have my dad's voice and to be there to like mentor me, because that was a big reason why I started playing football was, not only do I want to play and I'm curious to playing, I got the GOAT right here in my back pocket. He's going to be able to tell me what I need to do. If I do that, I know I could be successful. And I lost that in my freshman year. So that was a big blow for me. And being 19, as a kid, I was just kind of finding myself, and I was doing it down on South Beach, not like at a Big Ten school. So.
Yeah, and you got that name on the back of your jersey, so people are expecting big things, and just throwing everything you just said, like, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. Of course, then you ended up being the MVP of the damn Orange Bowl, so which I learned in the middle of our radio show. It's like, what? You were the MVP?
I will never forget that moment in my entire life, like sitting in WG radio, and we're sitting there having a conversation on there, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what? You went to the Google machine, you're like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I balled out a little bit.
I mean, that was a straight blind spot for me. Like, wait, I don't know how I don't know this, but I don't, and I got to own it. And there it was, and I'm watching you. I mean, running. People should go check those highlights out. As fast as any running back running around that I've seen. I mean, you were flying that day.
I was flying, man. It was one of those moments of the culmination of everything that I went through. My whole entire 5 years while I was at Miami, like with Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis, and I came in together. So it was like it was never ending, and there was opportunities for me to leave and go somewhere else, but I just really was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna stick it out here, and I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna figure out how to leave my mark and leave my stamp here. And yeah, there's a lot of great running backs that have come through. But if you look at when I took over at the West Virginia game, which was like 6 games into the season, I almost finished with 1,000 yards. I was really, really close. I was like 20 some yards short of 1,000. And so, for people that were always talking about me, to me, that was it. I left my mark, not just there, but also in the 2 Florida State games that I played. My first start in Doak Campbell, and then the last one, which was the Orange Bowl and the MVP. So in our fandom of the U, that game is so big. So if you leave your mark in that game, man, that's a part of your legacy. And so I have a legacy of beating Florida State twice in 1 year.
Let's go negative into a positive too. I think there's probably some part of you that wanted to play more, But since you kind of just peaked at the end, you didn't have to take the beating on your body on that side of it too.
That is true. It's true. But, if I would have went somewhere else, like Wisconsin or one of these other Big Ten schools, I probably would have had a chance to carry the ball a lot more. Who knows if I would stay healthy. But I'll be honest with you, just to have the opportunity to play in college, to have a chance to play in the NFL, what I learned from guys, Mark, like I would never change where I was because of the relationships that I had with Ed Reed, Bryant McKinney, Vernon Carey, you can go down the name, Jeremy Shockey, like all these dudes. Sean Taylor and I, my last year, his locker was right across from mine. And we weren't the best of friends, but anytime you're in a locker room and you're by someone, your locker is by someone, you get to know someone because you're by your locker a lot. So I got a chance to really get to know him a little bit more. And dude, he was amazing. And I learned from all those guys. I learned how to work like I work now from those guys back in Miami. So I would never change and go somewhere else because of the life lessons that I learned from most of those guys.
You named one dude in there who I just talked to, who I want to be on the next Chicago Bears coaching staff, if not the damn head coach, but make him the defensive coordinator. Ed Reed is just a stud of a human being. I mean, really.
He is, dude. He's one of the GOATs, man. Like the way that he prepared, I think to me was what set him apart, man. He watched film all the time. And there's that story when back in the day where we went to his crib and right before we went out on the beach, and it was Bayside. He had like a nice patio, marble floors everywhere, and then he had this huge big screen TV with like DVDs on the side, and you turn on the TV and it's all static. And I'm like, yo, you just got paid, bro. Like you ain't got cable? Like what's going on here? Dude, he had a DVD player and the DVDs, and he said, nah, I just watch film, man. And it was cut-ups of Brady and Manning and by downs so he could see. So if he studied enough that he could get their tendencies on those downs to know, okay, now let my athleticism take over and I'm going to go make a play. And it's the reason why he was so successful, man. He studied so much that he just let his body take over and go do what he did.
It's a great reminder to all you youngsters out there as I channel my inner Steve Stone. You don't get to be a Hall of Famer watching Coming to America for the zillionth time. These dudes work. They're super talented, but I don't know if you watch any of the Kobe videos out there.
But this is the deal though, Mark. This is the deal. These kids now, like my son, great athlete, could whatever he really wants, if he wants to hone in on it, he could do. Does he have a chance? I think he's a good enough athlete to play something at the college level. Now, does it go after that? Who knows? That's up to him. But I watch him, and they have all these distractions, way more distractions than we had. All these kids want to do is play video games. They want to play Fortnite, and they want to be on. And I'm like, yo, you can do that. You got to put the work in too. And so it's really, I don't know if these kids, these younger generation, understand the hard work that it takes to be able to be great, which my dad was trying to pour into me as a high schooler, didn't understand because I was the best in my neighborhood, in my area, right? I was the best. So I was doing what I needed to do. No one was really challenging me. But when you go to a place like Miami and everybody else is top shelf, you start to see, holy cow, these dudes work and they're trying to grind, and everybody's grind is different. I was grinding just because I love playing the game. These guys love playing the game, but they were also had other situations too, like their family situation, getting their moms out of, or dad out of here and there and trying to put them into a better life. Their grind was totally different than mine. And so that's what you can't ever predict how hard somebody else is going to work because you don't know their circumstances.
And it's awesome when you're around great people. It can only benefit you, right?
Yes.
Lift you up. All right. Speaking of that, let's tackle. I'm going to call them your football team right now. So here, I'm going to write something today, JP, and it's going to be basically, this is not a surprise.
No.
at all. Like
No.
3-5 right now. If you told me what would their record be after 8 games, I don't know. I'd say 3-5, maybe at best 4-4, 2-6. I wouldn't rule it out. And we got to see Justin Fields ball out yesterday, which was sweet.
Yes.
We've got to see Khalil Herbert have a nice start to the season. Ryan Payson hitting on another late round draft pick. But we've got a defense that's old. We have a weird thing going on with Allen Robinson. I'm not exactly sure why that connection hasn't clicked with Justin. And we've got a terrible offensive line. We've got a trade deadline tomorrow. I don't expect them to do anything, but
they got to do something. They have to.
Okay.
You have to do something. And it's not, it's pretty much Justin is the only thing that's on the table that stays. Everything else you should be open to having conversations about. And I think that's where if you're really serious, because I think I'm like you, none of this is surprising to me. This is what I thought. I looked at this team and knowing Matt Nagy, and this is just not a knock on him, but just the numbers speak for themselves when it comes to their offensive efficiency and how they've gone about this offense throughout his time since he's been head coach. And I didn't know that was one of the biggest question marks. And then you're putting all of this pressure on a defense that is getting older to hold up for an entire season. And that's just not going to happen. So offensively, they've always had their issues. To me, it has to be broken down in the scheme and what they do. You watch a lot of these routes, they're trying to, in this offense, it's like curl here, curl there. Let's get the ball, possession here and there. There's no shots. Now you got a quarterback that has an arm that can take some shots down the field. Like, you're trying to get 8 yards and then have them take it for yak yards. Like, yo, in this league now, every game we're seeing dudes hit 30-yard bombs, explosive plays. Like, you turn on the TV, you watch other teams, Mark, right? You go, holy cow, they just hit like a 40-yard bomb. Like, holy cow, you just took it the distance. You don't see that here. And so I feel like you got to change up. And it doesn't surprise me because even with the skill set of Justin Fields, from when he got a chance to start in that Cleveland game to where we are now, we're just starting to see them use him correctly, or the way that we all thought he should be used, like moving outside the pocket, getting upfield when he needs to. Not enough RPOs still, because that's a part of his skill set too. Like, you're not using it. We saw it yesterday where here and then the ability to get to the outside, that end crashes and he's going, oh, let's go, let's get some yards. Use that right now. Use that to his advantage and to this team's advantage. But we haven't really seen it. It took Matt Nagy being out in COVID protocol for us to kind of see the change of an offense and actually see Justin Fields look like he was comfortable with the shackles cut off of him. Like, yo, stop holding me back. Like, let me do what I do. And he made some throws yesterday, Mark, that were some Aaron Rodgers type. That the Jesse James touchdown, rolling to his left, throwing here, like, that's not easy. And where the placement of the ball was, like, it's just not easy. This kid has freakish abilities. He needs to be coached right, and he needs a surrounding cast. That's why I say nothing is off the table. You need to find a way to put him in the best situation to be successful, and that means offensive line has to be a priority. Ryan Pace, that has not been his priority since he's been here as GM. It hasn't. You trying to piece it together with some glue here and there. That's not how you do it. You don't win in the NFL unless you are dominating on both sides of the ball. And that's what we've seen. This young man, Justin Fields, has been sacked way too many times. They got to shore up this offensive line. And if they can do that, by that time, you're going to have to start looking at what you're going to do on the defensive side of the ball too, because defense ain't getting any younger.
I'd buy in on, okay, you want to add on to the offensive line right now and maybe even give up more draft capital to do it. I get it, because you wouldn't do that.
Not now. No, I need more picks.
Okay.
So you need to take some of these guys that are valuable and see if you see, just be open. Like, yo, what will you give us for this guy? Like, there's certain guys that I've been hearing, talk about. I don't know. I mean, Allen Robinson's names came up. I've seen, I love David Montgomery. His name's come up. He's coming off of personally, I love David Montgomery. That's my guy. I love him. But then you injuries happen, and then you see at that running back position, Khalil Herbert step up, right? And you're like, holy cow. Like, you don't need – and his contract's coming up. So Montgomery's going to want to get paid, and rightfully so, man. He was on a stretch mark where he was top 5 in the league in rushing before that injury. And but then we know with that position, you can go and get value other places, find guys that fit your system, and no one wants to pay running backs anymore. So I'm just saying right now, this season to me is a lost cause. You're not getting even if you get to the playoffs, you're not making any noise. It's basically the same thing for the last 2 years. Don't worry about that. Right now, the main focus, and I tweeted this yesterday, is Justin Fields and his development. To me, that's bigger than winning games right now, because you lost the game yesterday, but you won with Justin Fields playing better. And if he keeps getting better and you start seeing those flashes, he keeps getting better as a player, then you're in a good space, and you got to start surrounding him with more talent.
It's also a super tough spot right now for Pace and Nagy, mainly Pace, because your record at the end of the year is going to be judged on. I don't think they're secure. They're definitely gone as many other people are. So
no.
Are you comfortable enough in Pace's seat right now that, okay, listen, I will punt this year for the future and load up? Like, you could trade Jalen Johnson, probably get, I don't know, second, third rounder. Would you do that?
No, that's another thing, though. See, that's the hard part. Your value is in some of these younger players,
right?
That you're still
okay.
And it's hard.
Akeem Hicks.
I like Jalen Johnson.
What's Akeem Hicks worth right now on one leg? Nothing, right?
I don't know. I mean, that's a reason why. And I love Akeem too. I think and that's the heart of Akeem, is what you want inside of your locker room. Like, you want a dude that's hurting, that can play, but those injuries keep reoccurring over and over again. And that's the hard part. As you get older, you just can't. I don't know what you get for a guy like that, but you need as many draft picks as possible. And does he punt and say, oh, this season is a waste? Only if Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy know something that we don't know. And let's go back to that, because let's go back to last year's ending of the year press conference, right? There was no talk about that. There was no talk. George and Ted didn't say anything about, they didn't even really want to talk about the contracts with both guys, right? Remember? I don't know if you remember that. They didn't want to talk. Everybody was asking questions. No one's saying anything. So for me, I know that they like both of these guys. My biggest question is, when it comes to your head coach, the question that I think the McCaskies have to ask themselves is this guy the right guy to get the best out of what we hopefully see by the end of the year, like a franchise quarterback and a special talent? Because if he's not, it's not worth it. You just can't keep going, because right now, if Justin is going to be the guy, and I believe in my heart he is the dude, then you got to do whatever you can to be able to make sure that he's comfortable and he has what he needs, because we know the quarterback position is the most valuable position in almost all of sports, especially in this game of football. If you don't have one, you're searching for one, Mark. If you don't have one, you're searching for one. And if you got one, then you got to take care of it. That's why I don't understand what's going on in Green Bay. Like, I don't get that. I didn't get the whole issue. The issue shouldn't be like, I'm the GM. I'm the dude. No, you got 12. You surround 12 with what he wants. And guess what? More than likely, it's going to come out on the good side. And that's why the other night when Randall Cobb had those 2 touchdowns, I was like, see, there you go right there. Tom Brady in Tampa. Like, yo, these are the dudes I want. Let's make it happen. Now, Justin's not anywhere close to being there. But when you have a guy that's special and you got special talent, you got to make him feel comfortable, because that's the dude who's going to help you win a Super Bowl.
The Brady thing is just amazing to me. You didn't want to give him a contract until he was 45 years old, New England? Dude, I would have signed him until he was 50. How long you want to play? 62? I'm in. You don't let that guy walk out of the building. I could not listen to, I did listen and I still do, but Belichick and Brady, no. It's the quarterback, man. Look what's happened with Bill now. And doesn't make him a bad coach, but that's the dude. You had the GOAT. You let him go to Tampa. You know that he's I don't know how many touchdown passes he had yesterday, but he had 59 going into last week, which would put him 7th all-time in Bears history, ahead of Jim Harbaugh and I think behind Eric Kramer. 7th all-time. He's been there a year and a half. That's so sad. That is so. How many did 34 have? He probably had at least I want to say 7.
No, I think he had 9 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about how things have to change. And I know Bears fans are very, man, a lot of them are going crazy right now. And they should mentally, because it's hard. It is really hard. When you love this team, I know I love them and watch them and cover them, it is hard because you want to see them better than what they are. And to me, it has nothing to do with guys not trying. The guys inside the locker room are trying, man. They're trying. There's just certain things. If it's not right, if there's not a right vibe, then you got to figure out something else. And I don't know if that's the case because I'm not inside the locker room, but I knew that this stretch right here, this part of the season, starting from the Green Bay game, well, I would say it was more of the Green Bay game. I knew that Cleveland was coming up, but the Green Bay game and moving forward, I was like, this is either it's going to be a good thing or it's going to be a really bad thing. This thing could spiral out of control. And now they're on a 3-game losing streak. They're going up against next a Steelers team that's won 3 in a row. They've started to figure it out a little bit. So could this thing start getting bad? And if it does, what do you do? We all see it. And I don't know.
To me, the breaking point could come on Thanksgiving. They don't do that over there. But if you lose to the Steelers, you go into the bye, you lose to the Ravens, very possibly. You're not going to be favored. And then if you go up against winless Detroit, if they're still there on Thanksgiving, and you dump one to the Lions, I don't think there's anything coming. You're not coming back from that. At least the head coach isn't.
Let's be honest, though, about the Lions, though. I know it's been tough sledding for them, but
competitive.
He got them playing football, though. That's the thing. It might not be working right now, but there's something that's going on that could be a possibility when we get to that point. And to me, that's the scary point. But I don't think anything's going to happen until after the season. Yeah. But who knows? It's still a big question mark.
Well, let me ask you this, and JP, I really appreciate the time. You're a busy man. I know you got to get to do some business here, but your last one, because I do the post with Hamp and OB. Both of them say the same thing that you're saying.
Yeah.
And I like hearing you say it too, because I hear those guys all the time. I'm just want to, okay. So another person saying the same thing, which is, put the ball downfield, and you're putting a lot on the coaches. I don't think that Matt Nagy doesn't understand that throwing a bomb is a good thing. Well, so I don't understand what
I don't understand. But hold on, Carm. I don't understand either. But there are simple things, and as a former player, especially on the offensive side of the ball, there's 2 games. It was the Browns game and the Bucks game that really things I didn't sit right. And after the Browns game, I tweeted. I said that Matt Nagy failed Justin Fields, and the tweet went crazy, 10,000 likes, and it went crazy. But it was how I felt that morning listening to the national broadcast of ESPN, all these other talking about my favorite team. And I started to think about it where the first half, your offensive line is not straight. Your offensive line is not straight. And you're giving up sacks, and your quarterback is getting hit. I'm getting dinged over here.
I like it. You're good. It adds in.
You got to make adjustments at halftime. And as a running back, when we would go up against Indy, and you knew that you had to come down and you had to help Chip, that the either one of the tackles to help out. Like you had to come out, and that was like the main focus all week. Your routes are going to be in the flat, swing, check down, but your main priority, if you see any color of that, whoever's rushing on that, you help get that shoulder in, and then you get into your route. That's one of the things that we always did, and that was a main focus. They came out in the second half of both games. I never saw any running back helping on the edges. Like, that's simple stuff to me. That's simple stuff. That's like, yo, we're getting killed here. Khalil, I need you. We're gonna change it up. You're gonna run swings, flats. I need you to help out both of the tackles. Didn't see that. So where's that adjustment at? That's common knowledge in the game of football. Why aren't you doing that? But you're gonna let your rookie quarterback get killed? The dude who's the franchise of he's the quarterback of your franchise. He's the dude. Come on, man. Like, I do question sometimes. Like, what do you know? What don't you know? Like, who? And I also have to question the coaches that are coming down at halftime, who, if they don't know that these are easy help fixes, they're not going to fix everything, but it will definitely help out. Why aren't we seeing that? So I don't know, man. Yeah, you're talking about throwing the ball down the field. There's certain little fixes that I haven't seen in those two games against good pass rushes that make me question. So, I don't know.
Okay, I can hear it, and I would rewind back to, why would we think that they would get it right? You hired a first-time GM who hired a first-time head coach. And granted,
they had opportunities, but he's had opportunities, and it's hard because I don't want to sound like I'm always like going off on Matt Nagy, but this goes back to Mitch.
Yeah,
the Mitch situation. Like, I don't think it's not all on Mitch. I've always said that, but I think it's 50-50 of like coaching and Mitch. But I don't think Mitch was always put in the right situation to be successful. So that's what makes me worry about long-term with Justin Fields.
Right. And then I think we can all agree, okay, fine, Mitchell Trubisky wasn't going to be a Hall of Fame player, but if he was coached better, I think he could have been.
He could have been better.
We saw moments in time, a lot of them actually, where he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Certainly competent.
But guess what? Dropping back, as many times and being in the pocket, 7-step drop, that just wasn't his thing. He wasn't there to break down all that. Like, move outside the pocket, help out, because once you do that, now you're cutting off half of the field, Carm. And it makes it a little bit easier to make decisions of where you want to go with the ball. But also, what made him special was his feet. He was good. He could run with the ball. Now, I don't know. There could be something there. So there's always like, okay, I see this side. We knew like shoulder stuff was an issue for him. So was that part of the reason why they didn't run him? And, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I don't feel like they utilized him the way they probably should have. And I don't think we got the best out of Mitchell Trubisky. So Matt Nagy has an opportunity now. He's got the guy that he wanted. This is your opportunity to change the course of history. Whatever happened before, it's gone. Can you do it now? And that's the question that Bears fans, I think, have to ask.
JP, I miss you. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Man, as always, Carm, I appreciate you, bro.
Back at you, dude. It's great to see you. Great stuff, as always. And for those who are just listening, I get to see JP in the background. I got 34 pulling down. Whose pants is he pulling down on over your right shoulder? And you got the Super Bowl trophy too.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You don't see many of these, Carm.
We see
many of these.
We see none of those.
Do my curls with this thing, man. Get it right.
How much does that weigh, roughly?
I don't know. It's got to be at least like 20.
Oh wow.
About 20 pounds, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're moving it around like it's 3 pounds. So that's
that's how we do, though.
Yeah, I know. All right, we'll see you on WGN TV. Keep crushing it, and talk to you soon, JP.
All right, man. Take care.